So there was this one man, he comes to Central Park. Central Park is in Manhattan. And he walks into Central Park, he takes a seat on a bench, and as he's sitting there, he just looks very upset, and he puts his head down, and then he gets up and starts pacing back and forth. And a man approaches him, and he says, everything okay? He says, this man who approaches this fellow, he says, I live across the street in that building, and I was looking outside my window, and I couldn't help just notice that you're sitting here for the past hour and walking back and forth. I was just wondering, is everything okay? He says, no, you wouldn't be able to help me anyway. He says, just tell me, what's the problem? Everything okay? He says, I'm really, concerned. I've been looking at you for the past hour, drinking my tea, looking out the window, and you look really miserable. Just tell me what, maybe I could just hear you out. He says, you don't understand. My life is going down the drain. My wife, I can't support her. And my kids, I can't pay for their tuition. And my job is going down the drain. There's nothing I could do about it. So this fellow, he looks at him, this old man who lives across the street from the park. He says, don't worry. Let me introduce myself. My name is Warren Buffett. I'm one of the richest people here in New York. And I just want to let you know that you're in good luck, because I'm going to help you out. He takes out of his pocket a check. He writes out $1 million, and he signs it, Warren Buffett. He says, here you go, but I'm only giving it to you on one condition, that you only use it if you really need it. So I want you to go back home, take whatever money you have, and try to, invest a little bit, and eventually you're going to pick yourself up, and just don't give up. But you know that if anything ever happens, that you really come to a point where you can't anymore, at least you know that inside your pocket is $1 million check, and you could always rely on it. So he says, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. I can't believe it. Warren Buffett just gave me $1 million just like that. What are the chances? And the man says, good luck, and he walks away. So he calls to Warren Buffett and says, Warren Buffett, I don't know how to thank you enough, but I want to prove myself. I'm going to do whatever I can to put myself back on my feet. I'm going to invest, like you said, and then a year from now, I want to meet you back in this park, right here, by this bench. I'm going to pay you back the $1 million. I'm going to pay you back. So Warren Buffett says, I trust you, and he continues walking. So he goes home, and he's all excited. His wife says, what's so exciting? Why you look so excited all of a sudden? He says, you don't understand. I got a check from Warren Buffett himself. It's $1 million. But I promised him I'm only going to use it if I really need it. So I'm not going to cash it out. I'm going to go now and I'm going to start investing. And he takes out his piggy bank or whatever he has over there. And he starts spilling out all his coins. And he starts to count. And he takes out his wallet and he finds a few $100s here and there. And he puts whatever money he can. And then slowly he starts to invest in Baruch Hashem. He was able to build up his business. And then when things got hard, he remembered, listen, I'm not going to give up because I still have that check in my pocket. And he continued to push and he continued to persevere. And Baruch Hashem, he was able to get himself back on his feet. And slowly but surely, his business went skyrocketing. And a year passed, and he was able to take all the money that he made throughout that year, and he was able to pay back all the people that he owed money to. And then he remembered that he has to go back to the park and give back the $1 million check to Warren Buffett. So he goes to Central Park, he goes back to that bench where he met Warren Buffett, and he's waiting for Warren Buffett to show up. And he's sitting there waiting. He said, I'm going to meet you exactly a year from now on this day, right over here. I'm waiting for Warren Buffett to show up, and he's waiting, but Warren Buffett isn't coming. So he starts stopping random people. Hey, did you see Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett? Yeah, he lent me like $1 million like last year. Like Warren Buffett lent you $1 million. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, and Donald Trump lent me $1 million too. And he comes in, he's walking. And everyone thinks he's crazy, no one's even paying attention to him. He says, you know what? I have an idea. When Warren Buffett came to me, he said that he lives across the street from me, from this park, right across the street in that building. I'm going to go inside that building, and I'm going to look for Warren Buffett. So he goes inside the building, and he finds the lady and that works there, and he says, yes, how can I help you? He says, yes, hi, I'm looking for Warren Buffett. He says, Warren Buffett. He says, yeah, I'm looking for Warren Buffett. I think he lives in this building. He says, sir, this is a nursing home. A nursing home? How could this be a nursing home? He says, yeah, this is a nursing home. He says, you don't understand. He takes out a check. Look, I have a check from Warren Buffett. He gave it to me exactly a year from now. He wants me to pay him back, so here I am. I'm just looking for Warren Buffett. She says, can I see that check? She looks at it and says, oh, that guy. I says, yeah, there's one guy, he's in this nursing home, he's a little bit crazy. And he goes outside sometimes, he goes across the street to the park, and he goes around saying that his name is Warren Buffett, and he gives out fake checks to everybody. He says, you're telling me that this was a fake check? He says, absolutely, this is a fake check. And he couldn't believe it. That means for a whole year, he was walking around with a fake check in his pocket. He thought he had $1 million in his pocket. But all along, he didn't really have anything but himself. And so the lesson of the story is that we all have a check inside our pocket. You know who that is? Hashem. Hashem says, don't give up. I'm not going to let you down. You never know how much more you have to push. And if you know and you believe with 100% certainty, and you have trust that Hashem doesn't give up on anybody, and He has He has a goal for you, and He knows that in the end you're going to make it. In the end, if you don't give up, you believe, and you have trust that Hashem is by your side, that will give you the push to continue to be resilient and to continue to move on and be strong. That's the power of having that emunah, having a check, that you have a check in your pocket, that I could always have backup. You have to believe that Hashem is your backup. You have to believe that Hashem will never let you down. And you have that type of emunah, it will change your perspective on life forever.